The internet didn't just wake up angry that day. It woke up like someone dropped a lit match into a room full of gasoline, whispered Blueface, and walked away smiling. Because when Chrisean Rock snapped on Blueface's mom, it wasn't a normal celebrity disagreement. It wasn't even a messy argument. It was the kind of moment that makes people cancel plans, refresh their feed, and suddenly become body language experts with honorary PhDs from TikTok University. This wasn't just disrespect. This was family drama turning into reality TV warfare with no commercial breaks. 1 minute, people were arguing in comments. The next minute, Jaidyn Alexis allegedly stepped in and the entire timeline screamed, "Wait, did that just happen?" Suddenly, everyone had a theory. Everyone had a clip. Everyone had a cousin who knows someone close to the situation. This wasn't trending for a few hours. This hijacked the algorithm like a hostage situation. Even people who swore they were done with this saga were locked in, glued to their screens like it was the season finale nobody was emotionally prepared for. And the wild part, this whole explosion allegedly started over disrespect. Just words. Or so it seemed. Because in this universe, words don't stay words for long. They mutate. They escalate. And sometimes, they end with somebody getting dropped cold while the internet refreshes in real time. By the time the first clips started circulating, it was already too late to control the narrative. The internet doesn't wait for confirmations. It doesn't care about context. It smells chaos and immediately starts sprinting toward it like it's Black Friday at a scandal outlet. And this time, the headline practically wrote itself. Chrisean Rock loses it on Blueface's mom. But to understand why this moment detonated the way it did, you have to rewind. Not just a few days. Not even a few weeks. You have to rewind through months of side comments, passive aggression, and that very specific kind of family tension that only exists when fame, money, and unresolved resentment all live in the same group chat. Blueface's mom has never been shy. She's vocal, opinionated, and comfortable speaking her mind even when silence would have been the smarter brand move. Over time, her comments about Chrisean stopped sounding like concern and started sounding like judgment. The kind of judgment that doesn't need insults because the tone alone does the damage. And Chrisean, she's never been the type to swallow disrespect quietly. This is someone who wears emotions on her sleeve, chest, and entire timeline. When she feels attacked, she doesn't retreat. She advances. Full speed. No helmet. So when a comment allegedly surfaced that fans interpreted as another dig, another reminder that Chrisean would never be fully accepted, it didn't land softly. It landed like a slap. Screenshots flew. Clips were slowed down, zoomed in, dissected frame by frame like it was a Zapruder film for celebrity drama. Within minutes, timelines split into camps. One side argued it was just words. The other said those words were loaded, calculated, and cruel. And right in the middle of that digital shouting match sat Chrisean, watching her name trend for all the wrong reasons again. People close to the situation claimed she tried to ignore it at first, tried being quiet, tried letting it pass, which, if true, deserves an award because restraint has never been her most consistent trait. But silence doesn't last long when every refresh brings another joke, another think piece, another stranger explaining your own emotions to you. Eventually, the pressure cooked over. When Chrisean finally responded, it wasn't subtle. It wasn't filtered. It was raw, emotional, and loud enough to suck all the air out of the room. Her reaction felt less like a response and more like years of frustration spilling out in one uncontrolled moment. Fans immediately clocked the shift. This wasn't playful outrage. This wasn't clout-chasing chaos. This felt personal. The tone was sharper, the energy darker, the words heavier. It sounded like someone who had been biting their tongue so long they finally decided pain was better than silence. And that's when the situation stopped being internet drama and started feeling real. Because family conflicts hit different. They cut deeper. Especially when they play out in front of millions of strangers who think commentary is participation. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion on how Chrisean should behave, as if emotional restraint comes standard with a verified checkmark. Meanwhile, Blueface himself was noticeably quiet. No immediate defense, no public mediation, no let's calm this down post. And in internet logic, silence is never neutral. Silence becomes guilt, or approval, or strategy, or betrayal, depending on which comment section you scroll through. As the tension escalated, fans started speculating that this wasn't just about one comment. They believed this was about accumulation, about feeling constantly undermined, about being painted as unstable while others get to play concerned from a distance. And then came the twist nobody expected to be central this early in the story. Jaidyn Alexis. At first, her name was only mentioned in whispers, background speculation, a "why is she even involved?" kind of question. But the internet has a way of pulling side characters into the spotlight whether they asked for it or not. As reports and alleged eyewitness accounts started circulating, the narrative took a turn from verbal confrontation to physical escalation. The word altercation entered the chat, then fight, then the phrase that made everyone stop scrolling, dropped her. Now, to be clear, the internet doesn't do moderation. It does extremes. So within seconds, that phrase was being capitalized, dramatized, and turned into thumbnails with red arrows and shocked emojis. But even beneath the exaggeration, one thing was clear. Something serious had happened. People replayed clips on loop, trying to pinpoint the exact moment where words became actions. Commentators slowed footage down to half speed like they were analyzing a championship knockout. Memes exploded before facts could even catch up. Some viewers immediately defended Jaidyn, claiming she stepped in to protect someone who couldn't handle the escalation. Others accused her of making a bad situation worse. And a loud chunk of the internet focused solely on Chrisean, once again painting her as the villain in a story, where the starting point kept conveniently getting erased. The reactions were instant and ruthless. "This is embarrassing. This family is cursed. This makes reality TV look scripted." People compared the situation to celebrity feuds that imploded careers. Others joked that this saga had more plot twists than a Netflix crime series. But underneath the jokes, there was discomfort, because this wasn't to influencers clapping back online. This was real people, real emotions, and a situation spiraling faster than anyone could control. As the dust from the initial shock settled, one question kept surfacing over and over again. How did it get this far? Was this inevitable? Or was this the result of everyone involved refusing to de-escalate when the first warning signs appeared? Fans argued endlessly, picking sides like it was a sport. And as always, the loudest voices were the ones furthest from the consequences. Meanwhile, Chrisean's name dominated trending pages. Not because of music, not because of growth, but because chaos always travels faster than progress, and just when it seemed like the story couldn't get any more volatile, the internet started doing what it does best: digging, speculating, dragging old clips back into the spotlight. Because once the narrative cracks open, nothing stays buried for long. And what people uncovered next didn't calm the situation at all. It poured gasoline on it. And that's where things truly spiraled. Once the first wave of shock passed, the internet did what it always does when chaos feels unfinished. It went digging. And not the casual scroll for 5 minutes kind of digging. This was full archaeological excavation. Old clips, old lives, old tweets dragged out of digital storage like cursed artifacts that should have stayed buried. Suddenly, moments that seemed harmless months ago were being rebranded as warning signs. Every laugh was reinterpreted as fake. Every pause was labeled suspicious. People started stitching together timelines like conspiracy theorists with Wi-Fi, insisting this blow-up was inevitable. According to them, this wasn't a surprise. This was destiny with a ring light. Memes exploded at record speed. Some were savage. Some were unhinged. Some crossed lines so fast they needed a GPS to find morality again. One meme compared the situation to a reality show that forgot it was being filmed. Another joked that this family feud had more spin-offs than a cinematic universe. And while people laughed, the undertone was dark. Because humor is how the internet processes discomfort without admitting it's uncomfortable. Then came the celebrity reactions. Or at least, the celebrity-adjacent commentary. Influencers who had never spoken on the situation suddenly had a lot to say. Podcasters cleared their schedules. Reaction channels acted like they'd been training their whole lives for this exact moment. Everyone suddenly became an expert on conflict resolution, family dynamics, and emotional regulation. Which is wild, considering half of them can't resolve an argument in their own comment section without blocking someone. Some defended Chrisean with passion. They argued that being constantly disrespected pushes people to their breaking point. That everyone has a limit. That emotional explosions don't come from nowhere. They framed her reaction as a human response in an environment that thrives on provocation. Others weren't buying it. That thrives on provocation. Others weren't buying it. They labeled her unpredictable, volatile, and reckless. They said this incident confirmed everything critics had been saying for years. That no matter the trigger, violence is never justified. That chaos follows her like a shadow she refuses to outrun. And right in the middle of that battlefield stood Jaidyn Alexis. Now trending whether she liked it or not, her role became the internet's favorite debate. Protector or aggressor, peacemaker or instigator. The narrative changed depending on who was telling the story. Some claimed she stepped in to stop things from going further. Others insisted she escalated it past the point of no return. Clips were replayed obsessively, even when the footage was grainy, incomplete, or clearly missing context. But context has never stopped a hot take. If anything, lack of context fuels them. Comment sections turned into war zones. People weren't just arguing about what happened. They were arguing about who people are. Character judgments were handed out like parking tickets. Lifetime diagnoses made into 180 characters or less. And then came the comparisons. People said this made other celebrity family feuds look tame. That it made the Kardashians look boring. That even scripted reality TV couldn't manufacture this level of dysfunction without breaking several ethics rules. Someone joked that this saga needed its own disclaimer before airing. But behind the jokes was something more serious. Brands were watching. Networks were watching. Opportunities don't exist in a vacuum, and neither do consequences. Every viral moment writes a reputation sentence that doesn't expire easily. As the outrage snowballed, public sympathy started shifting in unpredictable ways. Some viewers who once rode hard for Chrisean began distancing themselves, saying they were tired of defending behavior they couldn't explain anymore. Others doubled down, insisting the public only condemns women when they refuse to be quiet. Meanwhile, Blueface's continued silence grew louder by the hour. People dissected his lack of response like it was a statement in itself. Some accused him of hiding. Others said he was letting the chaos burn so he could emerge untouched. And a few argued that this silence was strategic, letting the women take all the heat while he stayed off the grill. That theory didn't sit well with anyone. Then the think pieces arrived. Long threads explaining trauma. Videos breaking down power dynamics. Posts analyzing how fame magnifies dysfunction instead of fixing it. For a moment, it looked like the internet might accidentally learn something. That moment passed quickly, because chaos doesn't trend forever unless it escalates. And just when engagement started to plateau, another alleged detail surfaced. One that reframed everything again. People began claiming this altercation wasn't spontaneous. That tensions had been rising behind the scenes. That conversations had already turned hostile before anyone hit record. Suddenly, the story wasn't about one moment. It was about a buildup nobody wanted to acknowledge until it exploded publicly. The narrative twisted again. This wasn't a meltdown. This was a slow burn finally igniting. Public outrage intensified. Hashtags multiplied. Everyone picked a side even if they didn't understand the situation fully. Neutrality became suspicious. Silence became betrayal. And through it all, Chrisean's image continued to fracture. To some, she was a woman pushed too far. To others, she was proof that unchecked behavior eventually implodes. Both narratives spread simultaneously, colliding in the same feeds like opposing storms. Jaidyn's reputation wasn't spared either. Being seen as the one who dropped her turned into both a badge of honor and a stain, depending on who you asked. Strength to some, instigation to others. By this point, the situation had officially escaped the people involved. It belonged to the internet now. And once that happens, the original truth becomes less important than the version that travels fastest. And the fastest version was ugly. What nobody could ignore anymore was the fallout looming ahead. Because viral moments don't just disappear. They linger. They reshape relationships. They close doors quietly while opening others loudly. As the memes slowed and the hot takes recycled themselves, a new question began replacing the old ones. What happens after the cameras stop rolling? Because when the noise fades, reputations remain bruised, trust stays broken, and the internet moves on to the next spectacle, leaving real people to clean up the mess alone. And that aftermath was about to hit harder than the incident itself, because consequences don't trend, but they last. When the noise finally started thinning out, that's when reality crept in. Because viral chaos has a funny way of feeling powerful in the moment and painfully quiet afterward, the timelines moved on. The memes slowed. The reaction videos started recycling the same takes with different thumbnails. But for the people involved, the damage didn't magically disappear with the engagement drop. This was the face nobody prepares for. The aftermath. Chrisean didn't just trend. She crystallized into an image again. And once the internet locks an image in, it's hard to shake. To critics, this moment became confirmation. Proof they claimed they'd been waiting for. Another chapter in a storyline where they insist growth never sticks and chaos always wins. They didn't see context. They didn't see provocation. They saw exactly what fit their narrative, and they ran with it. Supporters, on the other hand, felt exhaustion. Not anger. Not denial. Just tired. Tired of defending someone they believed was constantly pushed into corners with no safe exit. Tired of watching empathy disappear the second emotions get loud. They argued that if the roles were reversed, the reaction would have been framed as protective instead of problematic. But the internet doesn't do nuance well. It does labels. And Chrisean got labeled again. Meanwhile, Blueface's family dynamic took a visible hit. Because once conflict spills out publicly, it doesn't go back in quietly. It stains conversations. It reshapes holidays. It changes how people speak when cameras aren't rolling. No amount of damage control posts can erase the fact that millions watched a family fracture in real time. Blueface himself eventually faced the pressure he tried to avoid. Silence stopped being an option. Fans wanted accountability. Critics wanted answers, and everyone wanted to know why he let the situation burn without stepping in sooner. Some accused him of hiding behind the chaos. Others said he benefited from it. Either way, neutrality was no longer believable. Jaidyn Alexis didn't walk away untouched either. Being labeled as the one who dropped her followed her like a headline that wouldn't fade. Some celebrated it, treating the moment like a mic drop. Others criticized it, calling it unnecessary escalation. Brands don't love controversy unless it's clean and controllable. This wasn't either. The situation forced her into a role she may not have asked for, but couldn't escape. Protector to some, aggressor to others. And once the duality sticks, every future move gets filtered through it. The reputational ripple spread quietly. Opportunities that were once in discussion became "we'll circle back," invites turned vague. Conversations cooled. Not because people suddenly developed morals, but because unpredictability makes businesses nervous. And then there was the public perception shift. This moment didn't just change how people saw the individuals involved. It changed how they viewed the entire saga. What once felt like chaotic entertainment started feeling uncomfortable to some viewers. The laughter slowed. The jokes felt heavier. Because watching people spiral hits different when it stops feeling fictional. And here's the part nobody likes to admit. The internet feeds on escalation. If this had ended quietly, it would have faded. But because it crossed into physical territory, it became sticky, unforgettable. One of those moments people reference months later with, "Remember when?" Those moments don't age well. Chrisean's future narrative now hangs in the balance between redemption and repetition. Every move from here on out will be compared to this incident. Every emotional response scrutinized. Every silence misinterpreted. Growth will be demanded instantly, without room for mistakes. Because the internet loves transformation stories, but hates the actual process of transforming, Jaidyn will be watched closely too. Her actions recalibrated. Her involvement questioned. Her motives dissected by people who've never met her but feel entitled to conclusions. And Blueface. He stands at the center of it all, whether he wants to or not. Because when chaos keeps orbiting someone, eventually people stop blaming gravity and start blaming the planet. The wildest part is how predictable this cycle is. Drama explodes. Sides form. Damage happens. And then, silence. Not peace. Not resolution. Just the quiet before the next wave. Because unresolved tension doesn't disappear. It waits, and the internet knows this story isn't over. It never is. There are too many loose ends. Too many emotions left unaddressed. Too many cameras still pointed in the same direction. This wasn't a finale. It was a mid-season twist. Viewers already speculate about what's next. Reconciliation. Another blow-up. A tell-all interview. A leaked clip that changes everything. The audience doesn't wait patiently anymore. It anticipates collapse like it's part of the entertainment package. And that's the most unsettling part of all. Real lives are now trapped inside a loop designed for maximum engagement, not healing. Pain becomes content. Conflict becomes currency. And the cycle continues until someone steps off the stage or breaks completely. So while the timelines move on, the impact lingers. Timelines move on, the impact lingers. Trust erodes. Relationships strain. And every future interaction carries the weight of this moment, whether acknowledged or not. Because once you've been dropped cold in the court of public opinion, standing back up takes more than time. It takes intention. And intention doesn't trend. But make no mistake, the internet is watching. Waiting. Refreshing. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that silence in this saga never lasts long. And now that you've survived this episode of absolute celebrity chaos, let's be real for a second. If this story had you shaking your head, yelling at your screen, or whispering "ain't no way" at least 3 times, you already know this saga is far from finished. So do yourself a favor and smash that like button like it owes you money. Don't tap it politely. Hit it with the same energy the internet brings to every messy situation it pretends to hate, but never stops watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments too, because we already know everybody has an opinion. Was Chrisean pushed too far? Did Jaidyn cross a line? Was this whole thing preventable? Or was it always headed for impact like a slow-motion car crash with Wi-Fi? Say it with your chest. Argue respectfully. Or don't. The comment section lives for chaos. And if you're one of those people who just stumbled across this video, congratulations! You're officially late but welcome. Hit subscribe because scandals don't come with warning labels, and around here they drop without notice. One day it's quiet. The next day the timeline is on fire and everyone's pretending they didn't see it coming. Turn on notifications too. Because missing the next update in this saga is like skipping an episode and asking people to explain it later. It never works. You'll be confused, loud, and wrong all at the same time. Remember, this channel doesn't chase rumors. It dissects them, roasts them, and serves them hot while the internet is still arguing about what really happened. No sugarcoating. No fake outrage. Just straight-up breakdowns of celebrity behavior that makes reality TV look like a calm documentary. Because let's be honest, today's drama is tomorrow's remember when, and the next scandal is already loading. Stay ready. Stay subscribed. Stay messy. This is Celeb Insanity, where the chaos never clocks out and the internet never forgets.